Good evening, Baruchim Abayim Rabotai. Welcome to another edition of our Thursday night class. My sincere apologies for not being here last week, but I had the zchut to be in Israel for the Baba Sali's Hilula. Zchut HaTzadik Yagen Ba'adeinu. I prayed for the Kahal Kadosh that attends the shiur, so maybe that was a different way of giving a shiur, a unique way of giving a shiur. And thanks for the birthday celebrations. I'm not really a big birthday guy. I thought I got away with telling my wife I have a shiur tonight, so I can't be home. Instead, I got one over here. In the Torah, there's only one time that a birthday is mentioned. Paro. Yeah, it's applicable. He was the only birthday party. Paro made his own birthday party. But the only justification that we have today to do any sort of celebration is that the Ben Ish Chai writes that it's called the Seudat Hodaya. We thank Hashem for giving us another year. So that's my response to this. That I thank the Rebbeinu Shalom for giving me another year of health and happiness and a beautiful family and everything else. And I pray V'chein yiten v'chein yosif that I should be able to say the same thing again in Yud Shvat next year, Be'ez Hashem. Ad Mea V'esri. Amen. There is in Tehillim that we learn out. It's more of a Hasidic pshat. Amar Hashem ani hayom yiliditicha sha'al mimeni ve'encha. Hashem said, today is the day that I had you born. Ask for me what you want and I'll answer you. So from that, the Hasidic books learn out a pshat that on the day of a person's birthday, if he prays or if he blesses or whatever, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps. So I bless you all that the Malei Hashem mishalot libchem l'tova l'simcha l'avodat haborei amen v'amen. Amen. Obviously, I love talking about this parasha. It was my bar mitzvah parasha. Yeah. I never got to say my bar mitzvah speech because they sang me down in the middle. So I haven't stopped speaking since. But I want to say over chidush that was actually said by my Shabbat Chatan and my bar mitzvah by an uncle of mine. His name was Rabbi Abraham. He's not alive anymore. He passed away very young. Zechet Tzadik Livracha, Zchuto Yagen Aleinu. The Divrei Torah should be a zchut for him in Shamayim. The Torah says that the Jews found themselves in a tough spot. The Jews tend to do that pretty frequently. They're surrounded. They got the water in front of them, the Egyptians behind them, and they're surrounded from all sides. What does a Jew do in time of need? Paro hikriv. Paro is getting closer, we're in trouble. So Vaysu bnei Yisrael tenehem, v'hinei Mitzrayim noseh achreihem. They look to see if there's a way to get out of this mess. They see nothing doing. Vayir'u me'od, they were very scared. Vayitzaku bnei Yisrael el Hashem. The Bnei Yisrael screamed to God. It's an interesting thing. Instinctively, the Jew, I think this is applicable sometimes by Goyim as well, Avdil. But a Jew, when he's in trouble, somehow God comes into the picture. And it don't make a difference how close or how far he is. Yesterday in the morning, I took a day flight back from Tel Aviv to JFK. Anelal, Achiba Bayit Ba'olam. You feel as at home as could be. Just like at home, you have to go to the kitchen to get your own drink. Over there, you got to do the same, and so on. So anyway, I was talking to one of the employees on the plane. It was a relatively empty flight, and we were talking about faith and other things to do with. Now there was this past Shabbat, and I say this with a lot of pain. In Ashdod, they rioted on Shabbat. They protested against Shabbat. First time I think in the history of Israel such a thing. Had a massive protest on Shabbat against Shabbat. That we don't want to have stores closed on Shabbat. We don't want to have anything to do with Shabbat. Crazy thing. People are going nuts. I don't think it's Jews. It's probably the Erev, but one way or the other. And so we were talking about this. If it's called, they call it in Hebrew kfiyat datit. But the Orthodox or the religious Jews want to force their views on others. So the whole thing is silly from the source. If anything, we have a reverse problem. It's called kfiyah chilonit. When a Jewish girl who's shomer Torah mitzvah walks on the street, then everybody has a choice of whether they want to sin or not. When a non-religious girl walks on the street, nobody has a choice. And the list goes on. It's just one of many examples. And then came in an interesting subject. Why is it that you guys that speak are all brainwashers? I have heard that many, many times in my life. Of all the accusations that I got, that's one of the many that I'm proud of. So my normal answer that I give is, there's a car wash, take a dirty car, you stick it in, it comes out clean, it's not a bad gig, you even pay $20 for it. And there's a brainwasher, you take a dirty brain and you take it out clean, what's wrong with that? But to answer on a more serious level, I explained this person a very interesting thing. What's the criteria of brainwashing somebody according to sciences? So it's a very specific thing. It's instilling in one information without allowing him the ability to intellectually analyze it first. Meaning, in theory, if I was able to take your brain out of you and program it to think however I want or whatever it is that I want it to think, and then stick it back into your head, so at that point I brainwashed you. Or if I played an emotional manipulation game, and as a result you went and did whatever you did, or in the rabbinic world I call it those who come with the scare tactics of everybody's going to hell and that's brainwashing. They didn't give people the ability to analyze the data in a way that they can make it a logical choice whether this is what they want in their life or not, and why. So I said, I have a very, very interesting observation. The Torah says that when you want to get to know God, you shouldn't get to know God through blind faith. The Torah is actually anti-blind faith in general. The Rambam writes, Yisoda Yisodot v'amuda chochmot, the pillar of all pillars and the foundation of all knowledge, Leida is to know sheyesh matzui rishon, that there is a God to the world. Yidiyah is knowledge. Knowledge meaning something that you can analyze in your head. When the Torah discusses the mitzvah of faith, the Torah doesn't say v'he'emanta hayom, you should believe today. The Torah says v'yadata hayom v'ashevotai levavecha, you should know God and His Torah, and then it'll go into your heart. Meaning, we're pro-knowledge. We're not pro-manipulation. On the other hand, when the world screams to you in lights and colors and doesn't give you a chance to think before you do, at that point, you're brainwashed. When somebody goes out and does something unethical that hurts his family, and later on he regrets it deeply, he or she, if they would have had that extra second to think, they would have never done what they did. But it was the way that the situation was presented to them, not that I'm justifying wrong actions, eliminated the extra second that could have saved the family. So I said, with all due respect, I think our faith is based on an anti-brainwashing campaign. Your faith is based on a brainwashing campaign. I won't give you a choice. Be like me. We say, I give you every choice. The whole Torah is pro-choice. Not pro-choice the way the Americans think of it. Pro-knowledge and making a choice based upon knowledge. All right. We continue talking a little further, but didn't get so far. About 4 hours into the flight became a little bit turbulent, or a little more than a little bit. And when you're on, you start bouncing in the air, some people find it a little bit not pleasant. I actually thought it was kind of fun, but that was just a matter of opinion. The captain, or whatever he's called, the pilot, it's not the pilot, it's the first officer, he gets on and he says, Tzevet na lashevet, that means staff sit. If you want to know the secret of a flight, if they ever make the staff sit also, that's not the best news. That means it's going to be really bumpy soon. Because the staff is trained to know how to deal with some turbulence. So now we go from mild to a step up already. And I see this same person that I was just talking to sit down on a jump seat that's exactly opposite my seat. And as predicted, the ride gets a lot bumpier. There were more potholes in the air. And none of you should have fear of this. If you understand the dynamics of flying, it's a joke. There's planes today can withstand things that you can't even imagine. But people that don't know that feel a little uncomfortable. And I see this woman that I was talking to a few minutes prior, mumbling. And I was pretty relaxed at that point. And I looked at her and I told her, ma'am, I just want to ask you something. At Mishugat, are you crazy? So she says, why? I said, you're talking to yourself. Crazy people talk to themselves. She says, I'm not talking to myself. I'm saying Tehillim. I said, why would you do that? She said, because I don't really like this type of adventure in the air. I said, number one, aren't you doing this for a lot of years? You're trained for this. Like, it should be nothing by now. Number two, who are you praying to? The God that you just said you don't believe in? The one who tried to explain to you the God that you said was brainwashing you? Who's the one that you're talking to? Nobody. So you're talking to yourself. So you're crazy. I said, now you have one of two choices. Either to make a concession that there is a God, and he's the only one who controls the world, and at that point we have to revisit our entire conversation all over again soon. Or to stop talking to yourself. But one or the other. I'll tell you a fascinating thing. Elal, if you ever want to become a flight attendant, that's the airline to work for. They have the best life ever. They get paid very high salaries because they're considered in high risk security-wise, and they don't work. Yeah. No, I don't mean that to knock off of it. I mean that legit. They fly in on Wednesday, right? They land here Wednesday, and then they get paid to stay in Manhattan 4 days in the Hilton, and then go back on Sunday or Monday. It's a pretty good job to have. 2 legs a week, and you're a full-time employee. Many of us would like that job. We exchanged phone numbers before I left the plane. And I got a very, very touching message on my way here tonight, and I'm proud to say it. Do you have a place for me to stay for Shabbat? I want to keep Shabbat this week. Not a bad gig to have some turbulence, huh? Sometimes good things come out of it. I analyzed it after I got the message. Of course I wrote back yes, and the arrangements were made already. I'm sure so many of you want to host, but sorry, the mitzvah was taken. No, it was a package deal. I think there's 6 of them that are going. That's pretty cool. Beautiful thing. Yeah, in a couple of months you see a lot of flight attendants in skirts. You know how it happened. Yeah, you'll know the secret. I don't know if they'll announce it, but you'll know the secret. But here's where we're going with this. I heard an amazing shot by the Shabbat of my bar mitzvah that stuck with me. The Jews are scared. Vayitzaku bnei Yisrael el Hashem. Instinctively, suddenly you talk to yourself. You talk to God. Hashem, help me. Okay. What were we trained to think as children? And even later on. You talk to God, and what does he do? He listens. And he answers. Sometimes he answers yes, sometimes he answers no, but he answers. The Torah seems to say a little bit different. At least in this story. You skip a couple of psukim, it's about 3 or 4 psukim later. The Torah says, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, God told Moshe Rabbeinu, Ma titzat elai, what are you screaming to me for? What are they praying for? Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yisau, tell them to go. What? Somebody went and prayed to God, and Hashem's answer was, Ma titzat elai, what are you talking to me for? Go. What type of answer is that? Doesn't that contradict the whole concept of prayer? Isn't that exactly the opposite of everything we ever learned to think? This is a very tough question. My uncle then said, a chidush, I don't remember, I was 13, sorry. In the name of who? I never found it written yet, but I'm sure it is somewhere. And if not, it's his chidush, close enough. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to teach Am Yisrael a great lesson before they went into their different situations that they'll have to face in life. That prayer alone is not enough. You also have to take action. What are you doing about it? How are you proactive? Otherwise known as chovat ha'ishtadlut. That a person is obligated to make an effort in every area in life. Like the Torah teaches us, ubeirachticha b'chol asher ta'aseh. Borei Olam says, I will bless you in everything, b'chol asher ta'aseh, that you do. Not that you sit back and say, yeah, it's going to be okay. It doesn't work like that. But there is a Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish, I think it's in Emunah U'Bitachon. Chazon Ish writes an unbelievable thing. He says there's an extremely fine line between faith, prayer, and laziness. And I want to add on, not that I'm anything close to the Chazon Ish, phobias. Person has a problem in life. The easiest outlet is to say, I'm going to pray. Now one has to assess within himself, is that coming from a pure place of faith that I know that only Hashem could help me and nobody else? Or is that coming from, I don't want to deal with my situation, so now, I'll pray and that's what's going to solve it. Number two, how do you assess that? How do you analyze that? There's an extremely fine line, and this is beyond fine, between, and by the way, this is the code to get a yes to your prayer instead of a no, between praying and complaining. Today we don't pray. We complain. We come to God with a long list of all the things that are wrong in our lives, at least in our eyes, and we attack Him for them. Why this and why that, and I can't handle this anymore, and it's crazy, and it's out of control, and that. As the Zohar writes, when it comes to the high holidays, Tzvachim ki kalba, we bark like dogs. Havlan chayei, havlan mezonei. Just give us, and we expect it all to be a free ride. That's not a prayer. That's venting. You want to vent, pay a therapist $180 for 40 minutes and vent. That's the extent of what they'll be able to do for you anyway. A venting board. That's not praying. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't vent to God. Why not? God's your best friend. Vent to Him too. But prayer is, whatever it is perfect. Because if you decided that's the way it should be, what could be better? I accept it with love. By the way, it'll be a little easier for me to understand and to work with if it's a little different. But if it's not, I'm okay with what it is. That's the difference between a prayer and a complaint. Complaints don't get answered. Because Hashem doesn't like complainers. Vayu ha'am kimit onenim, the pasuk says, when Am Yisrael started complaining, ra beinei Hashem. That's bad in God's eyes. Because Baruch Hu doesn't like complainers. Why doesn't Hashem like people that complain? What's wrong with complaining? You never complain in your life? I do. What's wrong? So you have to put things into perspective. If you asked your friend to buy you 35 items from the duty free when they were flying back from somewhere, a little irrational and unthoughtful, but people do that. I have a lot of experience, I know. Yeah. And he found 34 out of 35. And instead of saying thank you, you say, what happened to this that I asked you for? So then something's wrong with you, right? You're not a healthy person at that point. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you a heart that beats and a brain that works and a body that functions and a job and a place to live and a roof over your head and heat and many things that but a lot of society don't have. And if you're intelligent, then most of society doesn't have that. So you're complaining about what? About the one item on your list that 10 million things are right. One item in your eyes isn't right. So now we start the complaint game. When we confuse that line between complaining and praying, then at that point we have questions. Why isn't my prayer answered? You know why? Because you didn't pray. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Am Yisrael was standing in front of the Am Suf, and they weren't thinking of a plan of action. The only thing they did was they screamed. They said, God, help us. The Pasuk says something before that. Vayihu, they were scared. He said, don't come to me because you're scared. Come to me because you want to talk to me. I'm not your punching bag when you're in trouble. If I'm God and you want to talk to me all day, every day. And if not, then what happened now? Comes HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he does a very, very tough love move. He tells Moshe Rabbeinu, "Ma titzak elai," I'm not listening to their prayers. Now is the time for action. And behind this is a very, very deep message that everybody should apply in their life in the way they have to. We all have our struggles or our battles or different things that we face in our lives. What are you doing about it? What is your proactive plan towards whatever it is that you're doing? And sorry to break you the news, probably this is more of a girl's issue than a guy's issue. Perek Shirah for 40 days doesn't qualify as a plan of action. nor does Shir HaShirim, or any of the other ones, or Afrashat Chala either. They're all beautiful things to do, but that has nothing to do with your problems. If you don't care to take your life into your hands, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't care to help you. Ubeirachticha bechol asher ta'aseh. I will bless you with anything that you do. Now, there are people that get to a level of bitachon. The Chazon Ish writes about this, and he writes the Yechidei Hador, there are very few people in the world like that their hishtadlut is actually not doing. But alavai, one day we should even understand what that means. Forget about get to that level. Just even understand that. Rav Don Segel, Hashem should watch over him, for example, doesn't wear a seatbelt. Now, all of us have to wear seatbelts. Because on his level of bitachon, that's not his hishtadlut anymore. We're not there yet. So somebody wants to tell me, what do you mean? I'm there, I don't have to wear a seatbelt. So I told him, I just want to tell you one experience that I had with Rav Don, and then you'll tell me if you're on that level or not. So he said, what's that? I said, I went with Rav Don to an airport to take a flight to a foreign country when Rav Don didn't have a passport or a visa, and he needed both to get into that country. And by check-in, he just said his name. And they gave him a boarding pass. And by immigration in the other country, he didn't even say his name, and they just let him right through. And I witnessed that with my own eyes. So when you get to that level, we'll talk about it. But as long as you're fighting with your boss over your raise, if it's going to be 2.5% or 2.75%, you'll what bitachon? The closest faith that you have is maybe into your MAC card, and even that I'm not sure. So at that point, we are obligated, and that's what the Torah teaches Am Yisrael before they become a nation, right at the beginning of the founding, is to come up with a 3-part plan. Faith, a proactive plan, and prayer. When you have a proactive plan and faith, then at that point the prayer is actually a prayer. But if you lose the proactive plan, then your prayer is just going to be complaining because you don't want to do about it anyway. Again, there are disclaimers, there are rare occasions, it's not like that. There are times that people can't do anything about their situation. For example, somebody who's terminally ill. So obviously there's no chovat ha'ishtadlut because there is none. And that goes for many other things. There's an amazing thing here. The Gaon of Vilna says that there is a stone, I forget the name of the stone, that it has the power in it that when you stick it into water, it splits the water. The Gaon of Vilna says the name, and it seems like in the sciences there is such a thing. Comes the Gaon and says, he actually once showed it, it's brought down the Sfarim, that he once showed this to a student. He found the stone, and he took a cup of water and he stuck it in, and the water split into two. He made his own Kriyat Yam Suf in his coffee cup. Vilna Gaon, it's not a joke, it's serious stuff. So the Gaon of Vilna says that the Apikosim throughout the generations are going to come and say, of course the water split for the Jews. Moshe Rabbeinu had a stick. The stick was made out of this stone. He put it into the water split. It was a scientific reaction. Or like some other person who never learned not science and not Torah posted today, a whole article, that the wind was in a certain direction and that's what split the water. The wind. The only wind that there was, it was a little windy this morning and it split his brain maybe. But beyond that, what happened and why didn't that wind ever come back again in history and was never there before? Exactly then, that's what happened. And that was a natural cause and one time. And it exactly finished blowing when the Egyptians went in and it exactly split. It was a very interesting wind also. Into 12 different parts the water split. It was a very unique wind. But when you want to be not because, I will tell you, there's no end to stupidity. But the Gaon says, how do we answer these apikos? And what's the answer to this? So he makes an interesting observation. He says, look what it says in the Pasuk. Pick up your stick. And it doesn't say take your stick and put it over the water. Put your hand over the water. Because Baruch Hu gave Moshe Rabbeinu 2 separate tzivuyim. Tzivui number 1, pick up your stick. Why pick up your stick? Put it away. That nobody should ever be able to say your stick did magic and split the water. And now stick your hand out as if you're saying a prayer and the water will split. What a brilliant shot from the Vilna Gaon. No. So now we have to figure out a plan of action over here. What's the Vayisal? Where's our Vayisal in our life? What are we doing about our Vayisal? So on Tuesday, I'm sure everybody got the WhatsApps and the texts and the emails and the harassment that became already Parashat Haman. So first of all, just to correct the facts, Parashat Haman really, should be said every day, especially if you're a Sephardic Jew. It was a Sephardic Jewish custom after Shacharit every morning we said Parashat Haman. But okay, there was a Hasidic Rebbe a couple hundred years ago that said that it's a nice thing, Tuesday, Parashat B'Shalach, to say Parashat Haman. I'm not sure why exactly, but whatever the reason is, not because I disagree, just I don't want to, one day I'll be on his level maybe and I'll understand. And now we got to understand what's going on. So somebody sent me a cute picture. It's obviously Photoshop of a guy with a talit and tefillin standing by the Chase Teller, and it had a little saying there, I'm testing if my Parashat Haman worked or not. Fine. But in reality, that's another trap. I'm going to do this gula for this and this gula for that. You want to know what the biggest gula in the world is? To stop with all these gulot for once and for all. I don't think there's a biggest gula than that. Maybe then we'll stop believing in Hashem. Today we don't believe in Hashem anymore. We believe in Zgulot. Hashem is not part of the equation. It's all Zgulot. 40 this and 80 that and this that. I was by the Baba Sali's cave on Thursday. This past Thursday. I was on Shabbat. I wasn't part. I went Thursday night. Tens of thousands of Am Yisrael were there. I don't know say an exact number, but I think the police estimate was 40,000 people or something. On Thursday alone. It was a whole weekend event. The vast majority of the people that were there, at least on their external way of behaving, were in Shomel Torah Mitzvot. If only I had the energy to go one by one and ask them, so what are you doing here? Why was he the Baba Sali? Because of his Kedusha, because of what he didn't see. So you're going to come celebrate what he didn't see by showing me what I shouldn't see? Like, what's going on over here? What's the answer? There's a Jewish neshama inside. And the neshama is looking for a connection. And the Baba Sali is a convenient connection. Why? There was a big Baal Mofet. There was a lot of miracles that he did. And everybody needs a miracle. So now let's get a miracle. The tricky part is we suddenly start believing in all these things instead of what's really important. Somebody called me and told me that he wants to know if when I'm in Israel I'm going to Amuka. So I said, no, I'm not. So he said, could you make a special trip for me? I'll pay for the cab there and back. I said, no, I don't have the time. So he said, what, it's not important to go to Rabbi Yonatan ben Uziel? I said, it's extremely important. But I don't have the time. What should I do? I'm Mosek b'mitzvah. I'm busy with other mitzvah. So he tells me, but I need a shidduch and I need you to go for me. I need a shidduch. So I told him, I'll tell you the truth. I knew that that's what he was going to say. And even if I was going to Amuka, I'm not going to tell you about it. So he said, why? I said, you put on tefillin this morning? He said, no. I said, Meshuggah, you understand what the problem here is? You need me to go to Yonatan ben Uziel to pray for you to get married, but a mitzvah d'oraita, putting on tefillin, that you don't understand that you have to do. You got it all wrong. I said, let me tell you, bring God himself, not Yonatan ben Uziel, to your arm and to your head. Go put on tefillin right now. That'll do a lot better for you. That'll be a lot more important for you. So of course there's a big inyan of praying by Kivot Tzadikim. I'm not knocking it in any way, God forbid. I'm a Kivot Tzadikim addict. But we have to put it into perspective. That's after you keep Torah and Mitzvot. After you do what you have to do, so then we also add on other things as well. And the Jewish nation that loves Segulot, Ve'yitem li am segula michol ha'amim. We're the nation that has the most superstitions out of everybody. That's after. I'll tell you something, I wish I was joking. I really wish I was joking. I took one cab when I was in Israel. Most of the time I had a car, I rented a car. There was one point I needed a cab. And the cab driver had a mezuzah hanging from his mirror in the front. So I asked him, what's this? He said, what do you mean? The roads are dangerous. And mezuzah is protection. So I asked him if he has mezuzot in his house. He told me on the front door. I said, what about all the other doors? He said, nah, it's too expensive. I said, you're crazy. A mezuzah in a car might even be a bizayon. You're not allowed to do such a thing. It has no meaning. mezuzah in your door, you're obligated to have. So what you're obligated to have, you don't do it. But some superstition that somebody convinced you, and that you do. That's dangerous. That's exactly what the pasuk is saying. Mati tzakilai, stop with this. Enough. Rabbi Mansa once spoke here in the shul a night before Rosh Hashanah. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly. And there was one thing in the speech that stuck with me in such a brilliant, and like in such a way. And obviously, I'm not Rabbi Mansa. I don't know how to present the case as good as him. But he was talking about how people take upon themselves to do things, and all his but they just take the wrong things. And his examples were exactly the ones that I gave: Shira Shirim, Perek Shira, Fashat Chala, Brachos parties, and everything else like that, instead of doing things of substance. So he said one day a woman came into his office and told him that she needs a sgula. So he said, "Sure, I'll help you. What do you need a sgula for?" So she said, "Lo aleinu v'lo alechem." She got sick with the cancer. She said, "Rabbi, it's serious. It's cancer. I need a hardcore sgula. No jokes, like the real deal." So Rabbi Eli says, "I told her, if you need a hardcore sgula, I can't just give it to you like that. Give me 2 minutes. I'll come back. I'll give you a sgula." He leaves the room. He goes into another room. He asks his wife, "Give me a button, please." She gives him a button. Comes back and he hands her a button. Puts it on the table. Obviously, he doesn't hand it to her hand. And he says, "Here, this is a sgula to be healthy." And she says, "What? There's a plastic button that costs 2 cents. What's sgula?" So he told her like this: "If I would tell you now to go catch a fish in the Atlantic Ocean, and to cut it into 68 pieces, and to cook it for 14 hours, and to eat it when you're standing on top of your head, you would say, 'Wow, what a segula I just got. This is unreal.'" He says, "Miss, over here you're missing a button. Take the button as a gift and close your shirt." Wow. That's an Isur Doraita, every second. And that's a Chotel Machtit Arabim. You want to be healthy? That's the way to be healthy. Yeah. You want a sgula? Keep Torah mitzvot. It's the biggest sgula. You want a sgula to get married? Learn Hilchot Shabbat. Keep Shabbat the way it is. Yeah. Rav Chaim says that, not me. Rav Chaim says people look for all these gulot for marriage. They don't realize that by learning Hilchot Shabbat, you get married. Because Shabbat is called Shabbat HaMalkah. Malkah needs a melech, so it works both ways for boys and girls. In Shulchan Aruch it says you can't talk by Chazarat HaShatz. Instead of 40 days Shira Shirim or Perek Shira, why don't you try 40 days not to talk by Chazarat HaShatz?
What's that?
When the Chazan repeats Amidah out loud. I promise you it'll work a lot better than all the other ones you tried. Try 40 days shutting off your cell phone by the entrance of the shul, instead of taking it out 14 times in the middle of davening to see what exactly is going on. Try. Try that. That's going to work for you better than all the rest of the stuff. And for a single girl, if you don't pray 3 times a day, then what are you looking for other things for? First start by praying 3 times a day, because that api halacha you have to do. There's no heti, you don't have kids to take care of, you're not busy. What are you busy with? Your Facebook profile, go wait a few minutes, nothing's going to happen. Instagram, halavai would die without you, unfortunately it won't. So pray 3 times a day, what's the heti not to? Busy, everybody's so busy. To talk on the phone, we have time. To listen to music, we have time. To talk to our friends, we have time. To waste time online, we have time. To go shopping for hours, we have time. Everything we have time. But the daven Shmoneh Esrei at night by Ma'ariv, no time, I'm busy. You don't think that a Ma'ariv is going to work for you a lot better than looking for some crazy superstition? Try it. Come back, tell me it didn't work. So far, nobody ever came back to me to tell me it didn't work. Start from what's the Isau, what has to get you going, what has to get your neshama going. Then look for all the other hoochie-woochies also, fine. Hopefully by then you'll be a Talmid Chacham or a Talmidah Chachama and you'll realize it has no meaning anyway, you won't look for them. There's a big yisod in life. My brother, Zechet Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha, Zchutay Yagen Aleinu, about 2 years into his illness, I purchased him tickets to go to Israel. I knew it meant a lot for him to be in Israel. I knew the doctors weren't so fond of the idea. So I made all the arrangements necessary in order that he should be able to go to Israel. And a couple of days before he was supposed to leave, he called me up and said, "Yaakov, I'm sorry, I hope you don't lose a lot of money on this, but cancel everything, I'm not going." So I told him, we have a doctor that's going to fly with you. We have this, we have that, everything. We got it all set. He said, I thought about it for a long time. And the probability of me losing 5 minutes of learning as a result of the trip is very big. It's not worth it. 5 minutes of learning. That puts things in perspective a little bit. I'm going on birth wrong. Birth, whatever it's called. Or taglit. I'm going to learn a few more sins that I didn't know about. How about taglit? Go be megaleh de Gemara. Open up Masechet Brachot Daf Bet and start from the first line. That would be a big gilui naot. And if you're a girl, you don't have to learn Talmud, so open up a Tanakh. It wouldn't be bad to know who Yoshua was, who the Shoftim were, who the Nevi'im were. Wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. Be a nice idea. You don't think it's going to work a lot better? That's a real connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then suddenly when you talk to Hashem, Baruch Atah, Hashem Atah, you say like in person, almost first name basis. You, God, you're right here in front of me. A bunch of years ago I said over this story, but I love it, so I'm repeating it again. Amongst my many adventures is trying to help out people with different illnesses. I once was in a situation that a young boy who suffered from a very severe brain tumor, wasn't really communicating with many people except for myself. And so I used to take him to his doctor appointments to spend time with him in the hospital and different things. The situation deteriorated drastically, and at one point the boy, I was talking to him, it was late at night, he was in terrible pain, he wasn't able to sleep, and all the drugs they were giving him wasn't helping either. And he looks at me and he says, Yaakov, am I going to die? He was 6 years old. I don't wish on my biggest enemies to be in a situation like that. What do you say? No, God forbid. I'm not God, and I have no way of knowing what it's going to be. Yes, you are. I'm not God either. What do you say? And he's a 6-year-old boy. There's all the questions of faith in once, right? What did he do wrong? He has no sins. Suffering in a way that's beyond words. Looking you in the eye. Late at night when all the morphine, everything they're giving him is not working. Am I going to die? I was quiet. I didn't know what to say. And then he told me, my mom told me a story, what he tells me, that you had a grandfather, that you were named after, that he was like the Baba Sali, he made a lot of miracles. So I want you to make me a miracle that I should be healthy. Not bad, huh? I told him, buddy, it's true, I had a grandfather, he did a lot of things like that, but unfortunately the grandson ain't like his grandfather. Didn't work out so well along the way. I'm trying to reason with a 6-year-old kid who's critically ill. Doctors didn't give him even a month at that point. And he says, I don't care. It hurts too much, and he really vents. It's so painful. I need to be healthy. You've got to make me a miracle. I said, I'll pray that Hashem should make you a miracle. He said, for that I need you? I could pray for Hashem myself. I don't need you for that. So I said, so you know what? Why don't you do it? He said, I will. Get out of here, he tells me. And I was so relieved. I said, okay, now I don't have to deal with this for a few minutes. And I walked outside of the room. What happened inside of the room during those few minutes that I wasn't there, I don't know. What I do know is today that boy is 16 years old and healthy. There was a pure 6-year-old kid who came to the realization of, I'm not looking for weird things, and I'm not looking for hang-ups and hookups. I'm going to talk to God straight, because my life is in His hands and nobody else's hands. And I'm going to do what's right between me and God. But, unfortunately, that whole lesson didn't really last that long. Because right afterwards, the Jews already had issues, whether it came with the man or other things, and complaining about the Slav. And if you look, the parasha is loaded. You can say a whole speech on almost every pasuk in the entire parasha. And even when they did see a ness of the man, the Torah says about the man an interesting thing. First of all, the poskim discuss what blessing did they make on the man. It used to taste like anything you wanted it to taste like. So what blessing did you make? So some people say you make shakol ni'avidro, right? That would be the rational. But it's interesting, the truth of Rashba says not like that. They said they had a special blessing. And he writes that could be one day we'll have that blessing again. And I'm not sure what that means, honestly, the could be part. He says they used to say a blessing, Hamotzi lechem min hashamayim. God gives us foods directly from heaven. When the Torah describes a little bit about the man, it says an unbelievable thing. Vaya'ancha vayar'ivecha vaya'achilcha et haman. Vaya'ancha, Hashem made people suffer. Vayar'ivecha, He made them starve and He fed them man. Just the opposite, the man made them full. If He didn't give them the man, then they would starve. If He gave them if not, then what's going on? So Rav Yaakov Yagen, Zechet Tzadik Levacha, I remember this word now because I was just by his cave this week. In Bnei Brak. He said an unbelievable pshat. Unbelievable pshat. Chazal HaKadoshim say, how did the man work? It came down from heaven, whatever. But where did it go to? Where was the distribution center? So it came to each person's door. But it didn't come to the doorstep. There was no door-to-door service. Depending how righteous you were, is how close to your door it came. If you were tzaddik gamur, it landed exactly by your door. So you just open the tent, and you stick your hand, and you get your food. If you were tzaddik, but, a little bit shaky, then it was a few feet away. If the night before you fought with your kids, then it was miles away. If the night before you fought with your wife, then forget about it. It's a lost cause. That's the way it was. Depending on the averot shebiyado of a person, is how close or far the man. So he says an unbelievable thing. He says a guy wakes up in the morning, and the day before was an ayayay. Man Kriya Shema he missed. Tefillah B'tzibur he missed. Tzniut, she forgot to get dressed. Kosher, I only ate salad. This, and it wasn't, what a day. And they open up the door the next morning and the man is not there. They say, okay, maybe it's just a few steps away. They walk a few steps and it's still not there. And they realize, wait, the man must be pretty far today because of what we did yesterday. But now if he's going to go walking 15 minutes to pick up his man, and the whole Klal Yisrael knows what happened yesterday. And that's embarrassing. Vaya'ancha vayar'ivecha vaya'achilcha et haman. The man for some was food. They ate it. The man for others was a reason to starve because they were embarrassed to go get it. The last time I spoke here, we spoke about Yemot HaMashiach. I want to tell you the same exact idea of a pshat many years before Rav Galinsky Zitzel, from the Holy Marsha. Chazal HaKadoshim say, Mashiach, there's three things that come be'esech hadat. In a krav, a scorpion, somebody gets bitten by a scorpion. He wasn't planning on it. If he would have seen it, he would have not been there. He wouldn't get bitten. And a mitziyah, if you're walking on the street, you found a $100 bill on the sidewalk in a place that's a city of Goyim that you can keep it. There's no siman. You weren't planning on it. Happened to be there. Came unexpected. And Mashiach. Pitom yavo elecha lo adon hakol. Suddenly Mashiach comes. The Marsha asks that it doesn't sound respectful to stick Mashiach in the same sentence as a mitziyah and a scorpion. In today's world, it's a little bit meshuggah. So I don't know if this example works anymore. But years ago, when I would quote this Marsha, so the example I used to give was, I said, if I had to pick up my kid from school, and my wife would call me and say, where are you going? I'd say, I'm going to pick up dog food and the kid. Doesn't sound right. Today, it sounds perfect. It's okay. Everything goes. Why not? But in the normal world, it doesn't sound right. So we put Mashiach and a scorpion and a mitziyah all in one sentence. Shlosha ba'im b'esech hadat. These three things come b'esech hadat. So the Marsha says that, we put it in one sentence. Why? Because it's not shlosha, three different things. We're only talking about Mashiach. But Mashiach for some people is going to be a mitziyah, the greatest thing that could have happened to them. And for other people it's going to be a krav. It's the biggest bite possible. Because they'll feel so stupid. This is exactly, you have to learn this from the man. If you want to have really Yiras Shamayim, here's an easy solution. Today we like everything instant and easy. So I'm giving you a solution for easy Yiras Shamayim, instant Yiras Shamayim. Before you do something, and you want to decide if it's right or wrong, this should be your parameter. If right now Mashiach came, would I be proud for him to see what I'm doing, or would I run away and bury myself from embarrassment? If I would be proud for him to see my action now, go for it all the way. And if maybe I would run away because I wouldn't feel so comfortable, so maybe run away in advance and save your neshama. It's a good eitzah. Don't let the man, the ultimate gift from Shemayim, the Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi, be something that you have to run away from because you're embarrassed to be there. Don't do that. When I was by Kever, so on the way to Kever Rachel, I was listening to the news, the Israeli news, and they had on the news, there's a big accomplishment they had in the Israeli army. What was the big accomplishment? That they appointed the first commander in the Air Force that's a female. That's an Isud Oraita of Yarek Val Yavo, as the Rambam is posek in the Chazon Ish Shvaitz L'Halacha. But that's what they were taking pride in. When I came to Kever Rachel, these soldiers, they're tzaddikim. You know, they're standing outside, it's chilly and that. They had to protect the place. And there was one girl amongst them, also a soldier, and she was a little bit of a wisecrack. I came, I said hello to everybody and that, they're doing a good job. I offered them cigarettes, some money, whatever they wanted. I said, hey guys, anybody needs anything, let me know, please, I'll take care of you, you take care of us, we take care of you. So this girl says, yeah, I need something. So what? So I heard that the rabbi of Tzfat said that you're not allowed to put a girl in the Air Force as a commander. Why is it like that? You guys are anti-women, and there's a... I said, let me tell you something, Tzadekis. I'm going to make the question a lot worse for you. I said, this morning I prayed Shacharit, and I opened up my Siddur, and over there was a bunch of blessings called Birkot HaShachar. And in those blessings, I made a blessing, Baruch Atah Hashem Shelo Asani Isha, that He didn't create me a woman in the first place. So if you want to say that we're an anti-women religion, so then here you go. You got it. Muslim extremists. You don't have to come on to the chief rabbi at Tzfat that decided to say something about it. Rightfully he said it, but still. So she said, no, so you're just making my case stronger. I said, more than that. A man gets married. A few months later, he changes his mind. He can give a get to his wife. The girl can give a get to her husband. Isn't that not fair? And like this, I'm building a case, example after example. And I see she's getting heated up. So when she's all steaming already, I said, you know, and all the guys there around, and everybody's interested. I said, no, if I'm here instigating your questions, you don't think I have an answer for you also? So she said, what's the answer? I said, I'm going to give you one more example. The Rambam writes, you're not allowed to put a woman in politics. Can't be a politician. I said, and that's my answer. She said, what do you mean? That's also disgusting. Why not? It's primitive. It's this. It's that. All different names she had for it. So let me explain to you why. I said, let's say your parents came to you one day and said, honey, we love you. You're an amazing girl. You have such talent and such skill and everything. We're going to pay for your college. You can go to any Ivy League school you want. We'll buy you a car and clothes and a house and support you and everything you need to succeed. But there's one condition. That you're never allowed to work as a garbage lady. You can't work in the dumpsters. Would you be happy or upset? She said, what do you mean, I'd be happy. I said, why? But they're not letting you do something. They have a rule. If you want to stand on the back of a garbage truck, they don't let. You can't do it. So what do you mean? It stinks. Why would I want to do that? I said, yeah, that's exactly it. Politics stink. And because the Torah respects women so much, that's why we say that a woman is more dignified and she doesn't deserve to do the dirty work. Let's give it to the guys. The military has life risk. If we lose one soldier, it's a tragedy. But women have a skill that they can bring up the next generation. Men can't do that. Because Baruch Hu protects the women not to put them in harm's way, so they should be able to bring up the next generation of Klal Yisrael. Because only they got that gift. Shema b'ni musar avicha, but ba'al titosh, what keeps the continuation of Am Yisrael? Torat imecha, the mother's Torah. So not only aren't we against, just the opposite. So then she tells me, and what about Shelo Asani Isha? That one you still didn't answer. No, I knew that would stick with her. So I said, that's the Maharal talks about it. The Maharal says an unbelievable thing. He says if there's two people, one that grew up with no capabilities, and the other person that grew up with tons of capabilities, and they both wasted their life away, who's a bigger criminal? The one who had all the tools. Somebody who was raised homeless, no education, and no money, and no parents, and all this and all that. And he became a drug addict. It's not right, but you can't really expect much more. If somebody was raised in a good home, and had the comforts of life, and had the education, and had all the skills fed to him, and then he became the same drug addict, that's a much bigger complaint already. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave women so many talents that they don't even need Taliyad Mitzvot. Right? A woman doesn't have to keep Mitzvot to say Shazman Galama. Why not? Because she can get to the spiritual level without it. She's light years ahead of every man before she started. I said, so when we make a blessing every morning, Rebbeinu Shalom, thank you for making us guys, because at least we can use our excuse, I'm a guy, what should I do? I couldn't do better. I said, not only isn't that blessing an insult, it's every single morning HaKadosh Baruch Hu drills into every man in the world's head, your wife is 10,000 light years ahead of you spiritually. You have to put on tefillin in order to get to connect with Hashem. She doesn't. You have to do it. She doesn't. And now say a blessing that at least you have a few excuses that she doesn't have. One day you go to Kever Rachel and see some soldiers that are all men and not women, so you know maybe that talk worked. But that I wouldn't bank on, unfortunately. But then I ended off the conversation with them, and this a few of the guys liked. I told them, soon's going to be Tchiyat HaMeitim. Chazal say, when Mashiach comes, he's going to come from Hebron, up the street called Der Hebron, to pick up Rachel Imeinu, right? Rachel Mevakal Banea, Hashem promised her, Meni kolech mi bechi, and together with Rachel Imeinu to come to Yerushalayim HaKodesh for the third temple. That means one of the first people to interact with Mashiach is going to be Rachel Imeinu, and she's going to be one of the first figures that we see when Mashiach comes. I said, guys and girls, just remember, soon Mashiach's coming together with Rachel Imeinu. Normally when a person didn't see his mother for a long time, if they have a very good relationship with her, with their mother, so they go running into their mother's arms, Mommy, I miss you so much, with a big hug. There's one time a person doesn't do that. If he knows that his mother doesn't like something that he does, and he's in the middle of doing it, he's not going to go running to his mother's arms, because mother doesn't want to see him that way. So just make sure that one day, when Rachel Imeinu walks down that street with Mashiach, you're ready to run into our mother's arms. And not, oh no, now what? Mommy caught me red-handed. Rachel mevakal baneh, Rachel cries for her kids, what? That she's begging Hashem not to bring Mashiach, that's for sure. Bring Mashiach in a way that my kids should be able to feel like kids and come into my arms. Because Baruch Hu should help, we should be zeicher lirot ha'geula amitit bekarov. Tonight is the Hilulah of the Rashash, zecher tzadik v'kadosh v'chas chutei yagin aleinu, she'yimeritz Yoshan Olam Yisrael. Amen v'amen.